There is a battle that many face in silence, a struggle that few truly understand, the battle of the chosen ones against sexual temptations. It's not merely about desire, discipline, or human weakness. We're talking about something deeper, something that goes beyond the physical and emotional realms and connects directly with the spiritual. But why do people with a strong spiritual calling seem to suffer the most from this type of conflict? Why are they constantly targeted by these temptations? If you've ever experienced moments when these desires felt almost impossible to control, if you felt guilt or shame for giving into impulses you deemed inappropriate, know that you're not alone. This battle isn't yours alone. In fact, it's one of the oldest and most intense spiritual confrontations in human history. Understanding this can not only relieve the emotional weight of the struggle, but also reveal paths to overcome it with greater wisdom and spiritual strength. Sexual desire itself is a natural part of the human condition, something God designed with a greater and beautiful purpose. However, when it's distorted or misdirected, it becomes a powerful spiritual weapon against those striving to live aligned with their mission and higher purpose. Why does this happen especially to those with a spiritual vocation? Because you are a threat to the negative spiritual forces that want to keep you from fulfilling your destiny. Temptation is a spiritual strategy to drain your creative energy, your connection with God, and your mental clarity. Historical and biblical figures went through the same battle. Look at David, one of the greatest kings in the Bible, described as a man after God's own heart. Yet he fell in a vulnerable moment to sexual temptation, triggering a series of mistakes that nearly destroyed his spiritual life and legacy. The story of David and Bathsheba is emblematic, showing clearly that even the spiritually strongest are not immune to the traps of uncontrolled desire. David saw Bathsheba bathing, felt an impulse, and allowed that impulse to rule his heart. What could have been a fleeting moment turned into an avalanche of sins, adultery, lies, and even murder. This vividly illustrates the devastating power of sexual temptation when we allow it to take control. The consequences for David were severe, going far beyond the external and cutting deep into his inner being, bringing remorse, guilt, and spiritual distance. What's most important about this story is not just recognizing the fall, but realizing that even in the face of the worst failure, there's still the possibility of redemption and spiritual restoration. David found forgiveness when he sincerely acknowledged his mistake before God. This is a powerful reminder that although the battle is hard, it doesn't have to end in permanent defeat. There's always a way back, an opportunity to start over and strengthen your divine connection. And you, have you ever felt that this battle is especially intense in your life? Have you noticed that some desires feel almost irresistible, stronger for you than for others? That's precisely because you have an important calling. You're not just fighting human urges, you're being tested on a spiritual level. That's why your struggle feels so exhausting, so overwhelming. You're at the center of a spiritual battlefield, and the enemy knows exactly where your weaknesses lie. Understanding this is already a powerful first step toward victory. You're not battling a personal flaw. You're up against spiritual forces that want to stop your growth and spiritual fulfillment. Realizing this gives you a different perspective on what's truly happening. At this point, I want you to really think, have you been seeing this battle for what it truly is? Do you understand that these seemingly ordinary desires may be spiritual traps? Or have you been treating them as just physical or moral issues? When you broaden your view and begin to see that something much greater is at stake spiritually, you gain an advantage in this fight. So if you feel that this struggle is more intense for you, stop judging yourself so harshly. Understand that feeling this intensity means you have a great spiritual purpose. You are a chosen one, someone who disturbs dark spiritual forces simply by the potential you carry. Now, before we continue with the next parts of this content, I want you to reflect on what we've just discussed. Comment below. Have you noticed this battle is particularly hard for you? How have you been dealing with it so far? Share your experience, and if you believe this message can help someone else, don't hesitate to share this video. Now that you've understood the intensity of this struggle is no accident, but a direct result of your spiritual potential, we need to go deeper. Let's explore in detail how the spiritual enemy uses sexual desire to target those with a special calling. It's not just about physical attraction or emotional impulses. It's about something that breaks through those layers and strikes at the spiritual core. Samson is another powerful example we must analyze to fully grasp this concept. From birth, he had a divine purpose and supernatural strength given directly by God. But that strength came with a great responsibility. His mission was to deliver his people from oppression, a sacred and high task. Yet despite all his spiritual and physical strength, Samson fell victim to the persistent temptation represented by Delilah. Delilah perfectly symbolizes how the enemy operates, persistently, patiently, manipulating emotions and desires, until the chosen one's spiritual defenses are worn down. Day after day, Samson was tested, pressured relentlessly until he gave up his most sacred secret. And the moment he gave in, his connection with God was broken. The consequences were devastating. He lost his strength, his vision, and temporarily his divine mission. What happened to Samson wasn't just a personal weakness. It was a calculated attack. This story shows us that temptation doesn't always come in obvious, violent forms. Most of the time it appears subtle, disguised as something harmless or even pleasant. That's exactly what makes temptation so dangerous. Many fall precisely because they believe they can handle it, that a small indulgence won't cause real harm. But this mindset is exactly what the enemy exploits. Think about it. How many times have you given in to something seemingly minor, only to find yourself trapped in negative cycles, feeling guilt, regret, and frustration? This is the classic pattern the enemy uses to draw you away from your spiritual purpose. He knows that if he can lock you into these cycles of guilt and remorse, he's draining your spiritual energy and neutralizing your potential. This spiritual strategy is highly effective because it directly attacks your creative and spiritual energy. It's like diverting a powerful river from its natural course, causing its strength and vitality to be lost. Uncontrolled sexual desire robs you of your mental clarity, weakens your connection with God, and clouds your ability to make wise decisions. That lack of clarity and spiritual strength is exactly what the enemy wants to create in you. Understand this. Sexual desire is not the enemy. God created this energy as something beautiful and powerful, capable of creating life, strengthening bonds, and deepening real connections. The problem arises when this energy is used outside its original purpose. That's when it becomes a dangerous trap, capable of imprisoning a chosen one and derailing them from their true path. If you're in this constant struggle, know that you're not under attack by coincidence. You are a real threat to negative spiritual forces. The enemy doesn't waste time on those who pose no risk. If you're being tested intensely, it means you carry something spiritually valuable, something those forces are desperate to silence. Think about this for a moment. Have you noticed how, after falling into certain temptations, you feel spiritually drained, emotionally exhausted, and mentally confused? That's a direct result of spiritual attack. It's not just psychological, it's energetic and deeply spiritual. These symptoms are clear signs that your vital and spiritual energy is being diverted and weakened. Now, with this deep understanding, you gain a new perspective to face this challenge. You're not just someone lacking discipline or willpower, you are a spiritual target. Knowing this is the first step to overcoming the struggle. Once you realize you're in a spiritual war, you begin to use spiritual weapons to defend yourself and win. These weapons include constant prayer, spiritual vigilance, and a deep awareness of who you are and your greater purpose. The more you strengthen your spiritual connection, the weaker temptation becomes. It's a matter of alignment and spiritual discipline. Another powerful strategy is identifying recurring patterns in your life. Recognize the traps before they're even set. Just like Samson should have recognized Delilah's manipulative patterns, you too must learn to see when a situation or person is being used to weaken your energy and divert your path. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen this battle from a spiritual perspective? Can you identify moments when you clearly saw this strategy playing out in your life? Share your story in the comments. Remember, your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to find strength and clarity in their own journey. Before we move on to the next stage of this powerful message, keep this in mind. You're being tested because you carry something spiritually valuable. Your potential is enormous, And that's precisely why the temptation feels so overwhelming. Don't lose heart. Just recognizing this truth is already a major step toward victory. So far, you've deeply understood that the battle against sexual temptation is not just physical, emotional, or psychological, but primarily spiritual. Now we must take the next step. Let's explore how you can transform this battle into a powerful opportunity for spiritual growth. The goal is not to eliminate desire, but to learn how to redirect it, turning something that weakens you into a force that strengthens you. Mastering sexual energy does not mean repressing it. Many people make the mistake of trying to suppress or completely ignore their impulses, which only leads to deeper internal conflict. Instead, the healthiest and most effective path is to transmute this energy. Transmutation means channeling this powerful force into something productive, something aligned with your mission and spiritual purpose. Think of sexual energy as a mighty river. When uncontrolled, it can flood and destroy everything in its path. But when properly channeled, that same river can produce electricity, irrigate fields, and benefit thousands of people. That's exactly how your inner energy works. When you learn to direct it consciously, it becomes an extremely powerful tool for your personal and spiritual growth. Remember, sexual energy is creative energy. When you channel that power into something productive, whether it's your life mission, spiritual development, or creative projects, you'll begin to see profound changes within yourself. Your mind becomes clearer, your intuition sharper, and your inner strength multiplies. Great sages, spiritual masters, and historical leaders all learn this same technique, transforming sexual energy into accomplishments that deeply impacted humanity. But how can you do this in practice? First, it's crucial to recognize when your energy is being wasted or diverted. Pay attention to the situations that trigger uncontrolled desires. Spiritual vigilance is key. Once you identify the triggers that awaken that energy in a negative way, it becomes easier to take preventive action and avoid falling into the same trap again. In addition, invest time in strengthening your mind and spirit. Dedicate daily moments to prayer, meditation, or spiritual practices that reinforce your connection with the divine. By doing this, you create an energetic shield against negative external influences. The stronger your spiritual connection, the less power temptation has over you. Another powerful practice is conscious fasting. Spiritual fasting, when practiced with the right intention, helps you develop self-control and inner discipline. When you temporarily master your basic needs, your spirit is significantly strengthened. That's because fasting teaches your body and mind that you are in control, not your impulses. It's also vital to be mindful of your environment and the people around you. Toxic environments and negative people, or those who influence you in the wrong direction, are open doors that weaken your spiritual resistance. Learn to identify the influences in your life that pull you away from your spiritual path. Small changes can make a huge difference in your ability to resist temptation. Also, find activities that help channel your creative energy in a positive way. It could be something related to your work, a meaningful personal project, art, music, writing, or any activity that truly inspires you and aligns with your purpose. By consciously directing your sexual energy into these projects, you'll notice that the intensity of temptation naturally decreases. It's important that you understand this clearly. Sexual desire is not your enemy. Your real challenge is not to eliminate it, but to master it. When you take control of this powerful force within you, you'll no longer be enslaved by your impulses, but instead, you'll use them as fuel for your personal and spiritual evolution. Now think about this. How many times have you tried to simply repress these impulses, only to fail again and again? How many times have you felt guilty for giving in, not realizing that the real path was never repression, but redirection? It's exactly this shift in perspective that will make all the difference in your spiritual life. Imagine reaching a state where those impulses no longer control you, but you control them. Picture your life with complete mastery over your creative energy, using it fully to fulfill your divine mission. The sense of freedom, mental clarity, and purpose you'll experience will be immense. Of course, this transformation requires effort, patience, and discipline. It doesn't happen overnight, but each step you take in that direction strengthens your spiritual resistance and deepens your self-awareness. The more you dedicate yourself to this journey, the more you'll realize that true victory isn't just about avoiding temptation, but becoming someone who's no longer shaken by it. So now tell me, have you ever tried to transmute your sexual energy in this way? Have you channeled your desires into something positive, spiritual, and productive? Share your experience in the comments. Remember, your story could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to find strength and inspiration in their own journey. We're almost at the final part of this powerful message. In the next section, you'll understand what real, concrete transformations take place when you finally master this energy. Until then, keep these reflections close to your heart and begin putting these powerful strategies into practice today. We've reached the crucial moment of this journey. You've understood the spiritual nature of this battle, recognized the enemy's strategies, and learned how to transmute sexual energy into spiritual and creative strength. Now it's time to deeply understand the real and concrete transformations that happen in your life when you finally gain mastery over this powerful force within you. When a chosen one learns to master sexual energy, something truly incredible begins to happen within. It's not just that you stop making the same mistakes or stop feeling tempted. The impact of this victory goes far beyond that. What happens is a profound transformation of your being, something that transcends the physical and emotional and reaches into the spiritual realm. The first remarkable transformation is a significant increase in your willpower. As you consciously resist negative impulses, you train your mind and spirit to overcome any challenge. This ability doesn't only apply to sexuality, it expands into all areas of your life. You become someone with focus, discipline, and the power to accomplish goals that once felt out of reach. Each victory over temptation strengthens your self-confidence and solidifies your belief that you are fully capable of mastering your own life. Another powerful result is the sharpening of your mental clarity. You've likely noticed that after falling into temptation, your mind becomes clouded, filled with guilt, confusion, and inner conflict. But when you master your sexual energy, the opposite happens. Your mind clears, your decisions become wiser, and your intuition grows stronger. This is because you are no longer draining valuable energy in repetitive cycles of guilt and regret. Instead, you are elevating your consciousness and unlocking your true spiritual potential. Your vibrational energy also changes drastically. People who master their sexual energy become magnetic. They radiate a sense of inner balance, confidence, and quiet power that commands respect and admiration. Maybe you've met someone like this, someone whose presence is strong and calming, someone who naturally inspires trust and peace. That magnetism is a direct result of consciously transforming sexual energy into spiritual and creative power. In addition, one of the most profound transformations is the deepening of your spiritual connection. By winning this inner battle, you not only stop leaking your spiritual energy, you make space for God to move more fully in your life. Your prayers become more intense, your meditations more profound, and your relationship with God more intimate and real. You'll begin to notice synchronicities and divine answers appearing more quickly in your life. This closeness to the divine is one of the greatest gifts anyone can receive on this earth. Over time, you'll find that what once seemed impossible, overcoming recurring temptations, becomes a natural part of your life. What used to be a constant battle transforms into lasting inner peace. You no longer live in fear of falling, because now you possess powerful spiritual tools to recognize and defeat any trap before it even appears. It's essential to understand, though, that this level of mastery doesn't come easily or quickly. It requires time, patience, persistence, and a deep commitment to your spiritual growth. Many start strong but give up along the way because they don't see immediate results. But you must know that every step forward is valuable. Every small victory strengthens your spirit, until one day you'll realize you've arrived where few ever do. Another amazing benefit of this transformation is that you no longer see yourself as a victim of desire or external circumstances. You begin to see yourself as the main character in your spiritual journey. It's no longer desire that controls you. It's you who controls desire. You become a master of yourself, aware of your spiritual power, and living with purpose and clear direction. Now I want you to imagine your life with complete clarity of mind, emotional balance, deep connection with the divine, and unshakable inner strength. Imagine your very presence inspiring respect and admiration without needing to say a word, just because of who you are. That future is completely possible as long as you decide, today, to fully commit to this path of transformation. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. It doesn't matter how long this battle has lasted. What matters is that now, you have the knowledge, awareness, and tools to finally change your reality. Now I want to hear your voice. How do you feel after understanding these powerful truths? Are you ready to take the next steps and fully step into your spiritual power? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could be the encouragement someone else desperately needs to begin their own transformation. And remember, this battle was never about repression or guilt. It's about spiritual freedom, about claiming your power, your strength, and channeling it towards something truly meaningful. Now you have everything you need to transform your life and reach the deepest levels of personal and spiritual fulfillment. You are a chosen one, someone with a special and unique mission. And that's exactly why your battle is so intense. But now, more than ever, you have the tools to win. It's time to claim your power, take the final step, and begin living the life you were called to live. The world is waiting for your light, your strength, and your powerful presence. Are you ready to begin this new chapter of your life? If this message resonated with your soul, don't stop here. You must watch the next video on this channel. It was made exactly for this stage of your journey. Go now, because what you'll hear next may change everything.